Let's bring in Christina Bellantoni, senior reporter for Talking Points Memo. Christina, good to see you this morning.
Good morning.
Listen, I want to ask you, how much can the Democrats and the White House link Congressman Barton's gaffe to the rest of the GOP? That's going to be the attempt here.
That's exactly going to be the attempt here. And until the Republican leadership says Congressman Barton will not receive a position of leadership if we win back the Congress, the Democrats are going to continue to use this not just in Washington, but on the stump back home, because this is a very competitive midterm election, and this is the issue they were exactly looking for.
So unless the calls for him to step down are met, then this will not go quietly. Is that what you're saying?
Probably not. And what's... Go ahead.
Well, you know, my question is really that it's sort of split between the GOP. You have Congressman Tom Price, Michelle Bachmann, others that are saying similar things, frankly. Then you have other people in the GOP, head leaders like Boehner, that are calling for Barton to apologize or step down, saying that this is really going to be a deal breaker. So is this going to split the GOP, or are people just going to associate the R to this story?
Yeah, that could definitely happen. But one thing, don't forget that the Republican Study Committee issued a statement late Wednesday night about the shakedown that was the BP escrow account that President Obama is calling for. And so this was not just Congressman Barton speaking off the cuff. Now, the apology was something everybody's distanced themselves for, but that term shakedown came from the Republican Study Committee, which has more than 100 members. So the Democrats aren't going to let anybody forget that. And, you know, President Obama, this whole week, it was about turning it around with the Oval Office address, and actually it ended up being a Republican congressman for Texas that helped him do that.
Well, and it's interesting, there's a Politico report out today that the GOP warned their colleagues in advance, don't provide any YouTube moments during this testimony. This sort of became something a lot more than a YouTube moment. What was Barton thinking in this testimony? It seems, you know, grandstanding was happening on both sides of the aisle during that testimony, and this was an example of one of those moments.
Well, of course. And of course, anybody on the Gulf Coast can also say none of this helps us stop the flow of oil. So
right.
There has been some good news about containment measures in the last couple of days. That's something that really is important to keep in perspective. But as far as Congressman Barton, you know, this was in his prepared remarks. It was not an off-the-cuff moment, and that's what hearings are about. They're definitely about grandstanding, and for whatever reason, you know, he thought that this was the good avenue to pursue, and then he issued this sort of non-apology apology for his apology. So it's definitely not going away before the end of the weekend, for sure.
All right, Christina, thanks for being with us on a very early Saturday morning. We appreciate it.
Have a good day.